Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Huge news. The BBC just released The Night of the Doctor, the mini episode chronicling how Paul McGann turned into John Hurt, the Dark Doctor, or the Warrior as he calls himself. I know originally I said I was going to post my top 5 Doctor Who villains, but this is just so much cooler right now. So I'll do a breakdown first, and I've also got details on the 50th anniversary live stream that we're doing with the BBC America. First, I want to say thank you to BBC America for sending me this giant TARDIS. I had a little bobblehead that I used to put in some of my videos, but I have been upgraded, so high fives. Now to business. So The Night of the Doctor chronicles the regeneration of Paul McGann into John Hurt. Originally, we'd heard that Paul McGann was going to be part of the 50th anniversary in mini-episode content, but when I posted that video, it was so long ago and we hadn't received any confirmation between then and now, so it was kind of a pipe dream and I thought it was just a rumor. So the Doctor swoops in to save a woman from a gunship crashing into the planet Karn. He doesn't know her, but he is wearing a costume that's really reminiscent of the TV movie as well as the Big Finish stuff that he's been doing recently. She does recognize the TARDIS, and you do get a sense for how the rest of the universe views the Time Lords in this moment. They basically hate them just as much as they hate the Daleks, just because they're basically destroying everything in their war. The Doctor does say that he is a lover, not a fighter, but she doesn't care, and they end up crashing anyway. We find out the Sisterhood of Karn knew that this was all probably going to happen and that he was going to be the one to end the Time War. We can talk about why that is in the comments below, just because Karn has a big history in the Doctor Who universe. If you're not familiar with the Sisterhood, they're the keepers of the sacred flame, which is used to make the elixir of life, which is what's in those goblets that the women are holding in this episode. It's basically used during difficult regenerations. The interesting thing here is that they present him with all the colors of the rainbow. He can be any kind of doctor he wants to be, but he chooses to be a warrior because the universe has no use for a doctor right now. So this is where we get confirmation that Paul McGann regenerates into John Hurt. I think there were a lot of theories about where John Hurt fell in the Doctor Who timeline, but I think we'd always kind of sensed that he was the 8.5 Doctor. He is part of the Doctor Who lineage because he was born from a regeneration. He just did not call himself the Doctor, just because I think the Doctor is kind of a symbol of universal peace, or chaos, depending on how you look at it. So what did I think of the episode? It was fantastic, of course, giant A. I actually watched it about 4 times to make sure I wasn't missing anything. It did an amazing job of explaining what's going on in the 50th anniversary episode, that they're in the middle of the Time War, and why he became the John Hurt Doctor. I think that was really the main purpose of the mini episode, to explain why the John Hurt Doctor was born. I also really loved the moment where he basically said goodbye to all of his friends and previous companions. He was basically saying that I have something really awful that I have to do, please forgive me. The episode also looks amazing visually too. You can't really tell it apart from any of the other episodes. The quality is so good. The planet he's on is obviously the same planet you see John Hurt on in the 50th anniversary trailer. So obviously part of the 50th anniversary episode will take place on Karn. I thought it was interesting though that even though he died in the crash with the gunship, the Sisterhood brought him back to life for 4 minutes only, just for 4 minutes. Time enough to choose a new flavor of Doctor. But for those of you that saw my previous video, I said that Jenna Louise Coleman basically told us that we would see a regeneration in the 50th anniversary episode. Obviously, that is not going to be this regeneration, so that means that we will probably see John Hurt regenerate into Christopher Eccleston. I know he's technically physically not in the 50th anniversary episode, but you know how they showed John Hurt basically in a reflection. They can use Christopher Eccleston's likeness, because obviously they have to chronicle the time between the end of the Time War and the time where the Doctor met Rose Tyler. But let me know, what are your reactions to The Night of the Doctor and seeing this regeneration? It's amazing to see Paul McGann as Doctor Who in an official Doctor Who production. It's so great. And if you've never seen Paul McGann's Doctor before and you're like a Matt Smith, David Tennant fan who hasn't seen a lot of classic Who, let me know if you understand what's going on in the story right now, because we can talk about it in the comments. So like I said, I'll be doing tons more Doctor Who videos for the 50th anniversary. I'll be doing a Doctor Who giveaway. I'll be giving away Doctor Who 50th anniversary DVDs starting tomorrow, so look for that video tomorrow morning. Big thank you to Nerdist and BBC America for sending me the giant TARDIS here. You can also look forward to the live stream we'll be doing on November 23rd before the 50th anniversary episode. That will start at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time. The 50th anniversary will air at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be sure to post a link to the live stream and all my videos in the description as well as in the comments whenever that happens. So if you have any questions about the 50th anniversary, what's happening, or the content I'm doing, be sure to write it in the comments. Right now, click here to watch all my other special 50th anniversary videos, and click here to learn all about Peter Capaldi's new Doctor. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys tonight. High fives.